Hello everyone and welcome to a new season of RR League's racing. It is the GT3 Masters 7. For the coming months we will be visiting 8 tracks around the world to crown a new Masters champion. And here you can see our calendar for this season, and we'll dive right in. This is the Valencia round, for which unfortunately there was no live stream, but we are doing this after the fact based on the replay file. This Valencia race will be a dry race to start off the season, get everybody into their rhythm, everybody getting to know their competition. And if there's one thing that we know, it's that competition is fierce here in this series. So for this Valencia round, we are looking at a 90-minute race with qualifying on Saturday at 2 p.m. The race 24 hours later. Valencia was actually never part of the RR League's GT3 Masters calendar yet, so in this case there is no fastest lap time recorded yet in this case. Now, as we are doing this after the fact, we can have a look at the qualifying results, but first let's have a quick look at the grid for this season. We have Team WRT with Amadeo de Keizer, Bram de Pretre, Intense Racing, Cliff Bulke, David Dore. Then Paradigm Shift with Jack Camaletto, Radek Pavlacek, 77 with Cy Fillingham and Ralph Arella. Grizzly Racing is Max Beyer and Ruud Dennis. Alpha Shazoo Racing is James Mead and Hannah Song. Then Boyd Transport Racing Red, Murdo McLeod and Harold Shepard. Finger Racing, Tommy Kosunen and Florian Kutz. Then moving on to the next part of the grid, we have Happy Feet Racing, the Wilving Kervelds, Pannonia Racing Team, Abelovsky and Horvath. Pantera Blue with Damien de Grasse, Nemanja Manojlovic. R2E are the Mackenberg twins, Marvin and Sven. Then it's Red Bull Road Runners with Manu Hoedemaker, Simon Verzeil. Useless Racers, Paul Heron, Rob Taplin. VSP Racing, Yves Van Sande and Alessandro Penny. WNW Racing Team is Nigel Wood and Dirk Weicht. And then on to the final part of our 40 car signed up grid. We have a final team. It's a WR team, Kevin Rodens, Patrick Wust. And then our solo entries with Olivier Kouwenberg, Tom de Munk, Stefan Vierloos, Sven Hecke, Martin Hughes and Helen Voice as part of the Boyd Transport Racing team as well. So that is our 40 driver signed up entry list for this season. And let's have a look at the qualifying results here for this race. It was actually Damien de Grasse pipping our reigning champion Bram de Pretre by only 35 thousandths of a second with a 130.110. As you can see, a nice spread of different car makes, a nice close field. As you can see, the top 16, let's say 18, covered by about 1 second. So very, very close indeed here for this series. And a very nice grid forming up with a lot of different cars. It's McLaren, Mercedes, Lamborghini, Mercedes, Porsche, Ferrari. So again, a very nice and balanced grid, and we're looking forward to this race. That is for sure. Now let's see if we can get the audio from the race back. Yes, we can. And in this case, we will be moving to the formation lap. Here we are. And we will be activating the HUD, of course. Here is the grid forming up for their formation lap, getting the car into optimum temperature range to make sure that everything is working well for the formation lap and for the rolling start here. A very tricky first corner, so that's already one thing to watch. So you can see Damien de Grasse, Pantera Blue in the McLaren on pole position, followed by the Mercedes AMG WRT team, Bram de Pretre. Then it's Max Bayer in the Lamborghini, the yellow one, followed by Marvin Mackenberg in the blue Lamborghini. Then it's Bram de Pretre's teammate from last season as well, Amadeo de Keizer in P5. And look at that nice grid. Most of the liveries have been created, especially for this series, manually by the drivers. So we will be having a look for sure at a very nice and colorful grid with some well-known names in our community, and also some new drivers, new to our community. So we'll have to see how things get along. I will let you enjoy the sounds of the formation lap, and once we get going with the green flag, I will be here to guide you all the way through to the end of this 90-minute opening round of the GT3 Masters from RR Leagues. So here we are for the race start. Let's have a look at the grid forming up. Everybody nice and tidy, coming up to the line, and off we go. It's a good start by Damien de Grasse and Bram de Pretre as well. Damien on the inside line defending. Let's see who gets out on top. Oh, it's very close. Damien pushes Bram wide, but seems to be slow off the corner. It's Bram de Pretre taking the lead into this Valencia race and making up for that P2 in the qualifying session. Let's have a quick look further down the field. Everything seems to be quite well behaved. Couple of touches there around the back, but all in all, quite well behaved through turn one. No major incidents like we had in our opening round at Kota for the last Masters. So that's good to see. A good first lap is what we strive for, so everybody can get a fair chance of defending their position. And look at that pack there in the background with Jack Camiletto. Oh, it's 3 wide into the braking zone. Very tricky here to manage, and the 2 paradigm shift cars almost getting in the way of each other. But everybody, oh, a small tap there onto the number 99 of Sven Hecke. But as we make our way to the end of lap 1, it's Bram de Pretre leading from Damien de Grasse and Max Bayer. As you can see on the left hand side, gaps still very, very close. Rob Taplin at the moment rounds out our top 10. Oh, and there's a big incident there at the end. In the final turn, everybody gets back on the track, but it's action left, right, and center. Let's move a bit further up the field here again. Everybody trying to find their position, but it's very tough. It's a very nice track to attack. Again, 3 wide here. Everybody needs to try and find their position, as I said, and settle down. It's a 90-minute race, so everybody has to keep a cool head and look at the race ahead, the championship ahead. Luckily, the drivers in this instance do not have to worry about the weather. It's set to be a dry race, so that is good. But now little trains forming, so that is good to see. Let's have a quick look at the back of the pack. Olivier Kouwenberg at the moment in last position, but not too far back, so not that big of an incident for him, I would guess. Peter Abelovsky has dropped down the field a bit in the Ferrari. He's a Pannonia Racing Team, and there's either Tommy Kosunen or Florian Kutz in the Finger Racing car. Everybody trying to get into their position, but a good opening. As you can see, everybody streaming past here. Helicopter view is a bit too tight here, but very nice shots of our liveries. Everybody put a lot of effort into those. It's nice to see them in their full glory. The gap at the front at the moment, 0.9 seconds. Let's find a little bit of a pack. Here it is. Sven Mackenberg getting past Robert Horvat, it seems. Let's see. Robert is on the outside line. Can he get back at Marvin? Doesn't seem like it. Seems more like he's under pressure from Tommy Kosunen as well. And yes, Robert Horvat falling back into the crutches of Alessandro Penny from VSP Racing behind him. Some good hard-fought racing. This is a bit of a pack, as at the front everything has seemed to have settled down a little bit. Kevin Rowlands is still very close behind Nemanja Manojlovic. And track cuts will be an issue here. I'm quite sure of it. It's a very, as I said, a track which invites you to push, but track limits are a real challenge here for sure. And many of a driver could get caught out. Patrick Wust, in the meantime, following this pack with Murdo McLeod, Paul Heron, Alessandro Penny, Horvat, Kosunen, Mackenberg. A nice group forming here for Team WRT. At the moment, Amadeo de Keizer, we missed that, but he made his way up into 4th position. Cliff Bilke at the moment in 5th, and Ralph Arella made it up to 6th position. Let's have a look a bit further down the pack. We can't see everything, but here it is. Sven Hecke following Frank Koyak, the 777 McLaren, and Ruud Dennis, 25th position. So battles up and down the field, as we always see in these big grids. 37 drivers on the grid, as you can see, and Sven de Wulf now in last position, but he is very closely following Olivier Kouwenberg and Stefan Firlo. So even at the back, it's still very, very close. We are probably looking at a one-stop strategy for this race, so we'll have to try and see. Oh, as there's a paradigm shift car off into the gravel there. It is not Radek Pavlacek, it's Jack Camaletto rejoining the race after an off in turn 1. I don't know if that was aided or unaided, but his teammate just in front here, this pack here, is very, very close. Damien de Grasse staying within striking distance of Bram de Preter. So at the moment, keeping him honest, below 1 second, that gap. So very, very challenging indeed. And Nemanja Manojlovic in the McLaren in Pantera Blue. Didn't seem to have loaded his correct livery, unfortunately, and we found out after the race that that was his own fault. Now Kevin Rowlands right behind him. Will Kevin make a move to the inside here in the BMW? Not for now. He will stay behind and live to fight another day. So everything settled down now as we work lap 5 of this race. Probably about 58, 59 laps will be contested here. So we'll have to see how that goes. The grass now. Let's have a quick look how the leaders attack this track here as we ride on board with Damien de Grasse. Pantera Blue versus Team WRT, our reigning champion Bram de Pretre in the lead of this race, but coming under pressure. Well, the McLaren sounds very nice, and as you can see, there's a lot of closing radius corners here on this track. That's a real challenge and a real good opportunity to choose different lines and maybe try and force people into moves they don't really want to make. Oh, again, quite wide. So I'm pretty sure we will see some drive-throughs come the second half of this race. And you can see as well strengths and weaknesses on both cars. We saw Bram de Pretre pulling away on the straight, so he is running a little bit less wing, it seems. The good thing about the replay file is that we can see a little bit into the technical details. So brake bias, ABS, TC1, TC2. We can see for all the drivers here on the right hand side, so that is nice to see. The gaps further back are pretty steady, the top 5, and then there's a bit of a gap to Ralph Arella, but let's see how that looks like from David Dore, who has changed car from the Aston Martin together with Cliff Bilke to the new Porsche. Let's see how he finds it. He has Arella in the intense Mercedes and Mackenberg in the R2E Lamborghini just in front of him. Let's see, Yves Van Sant following Kevin Rowlands, following Nemanja Manojlovic. A very close back, and as you can see in the background, still everybody now settled down into their rhythm. And we heard after the race that it was quite tough for some drivers to get into their rhythm. But as you can see here, the brake balance, for example, for Yves Van Sant, a lot more forward than what we saw on Damien de Grasse's car just a few minutes ago. Battles brewing left, right, and center. This is quite a big pack. 4 cars separated by no less than, well, not more than 1.5 seconds, or 1 second even. Yves Van Sant looking at the back of Kevin Rowlands' BMW. A nice livery as well for VSP Racing, nice and colorful. Yellow, blue, red. I like it. As we have a quick look further down the field. We have Hallam Voice doing well in P20. We have Sven Hecke 25th, followed closely by Frank Koyak, Jack Camaletto, and Radek Pavlacek in the Paradigm Shift cars, 28th and 31st. That's not where I had expected them. And there's a group of 5 Ferraris there the bottom half of the top 20. And they're all very, very closely following each other. So let's have a quick look. Who is the quickest of the Ferraris? Is it Florian Kutz, Jack Camaletto, Peter Abelovsky, Simon Verzel, or Radek Pavlacek? As Frank Koyak has gotten past Pavlacek and Verzel, it seems. Yes, he did. Oh, very close there. And who is that? Dropping back. Number 99, Sven Hecke, dropping back into this pack after a mistake. So the BMWs and the McLarens mixing up this Ferrari battle pack. And Abelovsky oh, there's an off for, that must be Sven Hecke. Yes, he went off, gets passed by Peter Abelovsky there, unfortunately. At the moment it's Martin Hughes in last position. Not anymore, because there's someone coming into the pits. It's Olivier Kouwenbergs. Let's hope he does not retire from this race yet. It's still very early days. Oh, and the gap at the front. Let's have a look. 0.3 seconds. Damien de Grasse really putting the pressure on Bram de Pretre. We saw over 5,000 practice laps done by the whole field on this Valencia practice server. And Damien de Grasse was stopping the timing sheets by quite a margin. So he has his car under control, and he has Bram de Pretre firmly within his sights. You can follow the timing on the left hand side, of course, obviously, as we work lap 10 of this race. But it will be a battle between Bram and Damien. Who of the two can be better on the tires? And will they start thinking about strategy? Maybe undercutting, overcutting, as Max Bayer is having a bit of a lonely race, it seems, in third, with a bit of a gap in front and a gap behind to Amadeo de Keizer. Cliff Bilke as well, qualified P6, P5 now for him. So at the moment running well in the new Porsche, getting used to that. His teammate David Dore in 8th, and then Rob Taplin still firmly in that top 10, but Manojlovic is putting pressure on him. This pack still very closely following each other. Going through the final sector on board with Yves Vincent in the Aston Martin. And as you can see, quite a bit of different lines through this last corner to get a good exit and try to get a good run here. Manojlovic almost getting up the inside of Taplin, but not yet. We have to be patient. Let's see if Sven Mackenberg has the pace to close up on this pack, as Yves Vincent has a big slide coming out of turn 6. But everything looking under control for these guys. Battling hard, of course, but nothing too crazy. And again, let's go on board with Manojlovic as we see Roland's in his rear view camera. Oh, and Taplin goes wide. Manojlovic makes it stick. Will Taplin lose another position, or can he keep P11 for now? Falls out of the top 10. Held on for so long, and now Manojlovic has to prove that he has the pace to run away from this pack, and Mackenberg right there with them. Now 0.8 seconds behind. He was 1.3 behind just a bit earlier. So a battle pack of 5 cars, and at the front it's still as close as ever. As we go through the timing lines, let's have a quick look. So here we are back, moving to the next replay file, still with Van Sande in this 5-way battle. And a bit further in the background, we also see Alessandro Penny following Robert Horvat. So the VSP racing guys having quite a bit of fun, it seems. At the front, 0.3 Max Bayer falling behind, as is Amadeo de Keizer. Cliff Bilk is still quite close to Amadeo. And Ralph Arella, there's a bit of a gap to the top 5 now, it seems. So good performances so far from the guys that were to be expected at the front. Let's have a quick look. Ralph Arella in 6th, Cy Fillingham at the moment in a lonely place in P21. And I think here it is. First drive-through of the day for Sven Hecke. Getting that cleared now and dropping back a couple of positions. Has Olivier Kouwenberg rejoined the race? Yes, he did. So that is good. Have a quick look. He is not battling for position here. He is behind the number 24. That must be... Let's see. He is behind Sven de Wulf. So dropping back 1 lap. But behind Sven de Wulf at the moment. Maybe he can follow him around and pick up some positions. Radek Pavlacek and Jack Camaletto I touched on already. They have a 3-way Ferrari battle. Again, these 5 Ferraris are together here. The BMW has dropped back. That was Sven Hecke. So a bit of a mistake. And then a drive-through penalty unfortunately dropped him out of this battle. Very nice looking Ferraris there. Followed by Nigel Wood, a RRL regular as well. What I wanted to focus on for just a second was some of the new drivers on the grid. So who didn't we have on the grid earlier at RR Leagues? Tom de Munk had signed up to our Lamborghini Super Trofeo Cup. I'm not sure if he drove any races there, but this is his first big outing at RR Leagues, that's for sure, in the Ferrari. Then it's Rob Taplin coming to us from Useless Gamers, and he joined us together with Paul Heron. So P11 and P18 for them. That is not too shabby to start off with. As quick look, Kosunen having to go defensive, or on the attack rather, side by side through turn 1 with Robert Horvath. Will they make it 3 wide with Alessandro Penny? No, they don't. But it's Kosonen coming out on top. And can Alessandro put the pressure on Robert Horvath and get through? He has Paul Heron breathing down his neck in P18, as I said, but that can quickly become a P15 if things go wrong. But again, looking at new drivers, but there is action left, right, and center. Patrick Wust has joined us for our 2.4 hours of the Glen earlier this year, but has signed up now for the full master season. So I'm very happy to see him. He is in the team with Kevin Rowlands, who has driven with us also in the Super Trofeo Cup. He's currently in P12 and battling it out with Yvan Sant, who gets up the inside and makes the pass. Can he make it stick as they go across the line? At the moment, he slots in front and seems to be confident that the inside line is clear. So very nice. And Sven Mackenberg sitting there in P14, his brother Marvin in P8. The gap at the front still 0.3 seconds. So, who are our other newcomers? Alessandro Penny coming from ACC Vlaanderen together with Yvan Sant, who had joined us for last season's Masters, who had a bit of a shocker at Kota for the opening round last season, getting a disqualification for speeding in the pit lane, unfortunately. Who else do we have? We have Dirk Weicht, who has also joined us already for some endurance action, but signing up now for this series as well. A very nice livery, by the way, for this team. Very nice. Murdo McLeod for Boyd Transport Racing. He's joining us in the Mercedes AMG Hallam Voice, part of that team as well, but as a single entry, because teammate of Murdo McLeod is... Let's see, did I miss him? They're all in the Mercedes Hallam Voice, and his teammate is not on the grid. Let's have a quick look, or I'm going to have a quick look if I can find who his teammate is. Give me just a second. Harvey Shepard. Yeah, he was on the grid, right? Must be blind. Where are you? No, he's not on the grid. Oh, as we catch a big moment here. Damien de Grasse coming into the pits after 16 laps of racing. That is quite early. Let's see if that gives him any space as Bram de Pretre is making his way through traffic, passing the 99 car of Sven Hecke at the moment. So at the moment, let's follow Bram around and see if he makes a pit stop to cover Damien off. But this is an early pit stop, guys. This could put them into a bit of a difficult spot at the end of the race with Max Bayer. He is a bit slower, but not that far behind. But at the moment, our top 10 is De Pretre, Bayer, De Keizer, Bulke, Arella, Doren, Meckenberg, De Grasse, No, De Grasse falling out of the top 10 in his pit stop. Manojlovic and Taplin once again got back into the top 10 as De Grasse falls back. De Grasse rejoining into a good spot, it seems. Gets let through the Canadian, so very nice. Let's see if Bram comes in. No, he continues for another lap, so this will be a long-term battle that we have to keep an eye out on. And let's find some action here. Robert Horvat having a cracker of the race, I think. Cracker of a race, I think. Battling it out with Tommi Kosunen, Alessandro Penny, Paul Heron. Oh, Penny going for the inside line on Horvat. Can he make that stick? Horvat on the ideal line, but he has to make it around the outside, and Penny decides to not pursue that opportunity yet. Still plenty of time to go. And having to defend from Paul Heron. So having to look forwards and backwards. Oh, and a drive-through for Martin Hughes as well. That must be track cuts, I fear. Oh, very unfortunate. Everybody very well prepared for this season of racing action. But after this, we are going to Suzuka for our first 2-hour race of the season, where also some weather will come into play. So that will be a new factor for the drivers. At the moment, this one will be a dry race. All the rest of the races in this season will have some kind of chance of rain. Might come, it might not come, but that's always something to keep in mind. Let's see if we can find some close battles. Hallam Voice, one of our new drivers. Let's jump on board with him and see what he can do against Patrick Wust, as they have this battle with Robert Horvat in front of them. De Grasse down in 27, so that gives you an indication of how close the field is. He makes a pit stop. That's around, what is it, 30 seconds, I think, for changing tires and getting a bit of fuel. And he lost essentially 27 positions. So that's how close the field still was at this point of the race. Just wanted to give you an update on the kinds of races that we have. So round 2 will be Suzuka. That will be on September 8th. Then we will travel to Monza, and that will be our inaugural sprint race weekend, where we will have a 2-race format, one 30-minute and one 60-minute feature race, to give the drivers a different kind of challenge as well. And it's Mount Panorama, Bathurst 2 hours, then it's Hungaroring, Spa-Francorchamps 2.4 hours, Brands Hatch and the Nürburgring to round things off for this GT3 Master season in the beginning of December. So you can follow us bi-weekly on Sunday evenings, and the rest of the races should be live streamed by myself. Unfortunately, the first race could not happen, but we're making up for it in this way, and at the moment it has been a cracker. Quite a good opening lap. Probably some smaller taps and incidents that we did not see, but no massive pileups. Last season at Coda, unfortunately, there was an issue with one of the drivers not selecting the correct gear to start the race, and unfortunately causing a big pileup, which is of course never the thing you want in your opening race with a lot of new people joining in, who might then think, okay, what's this? It's advertised as a clean racing league, professionally organized, and now this happens. But of course, yeah, the drivers have to make sure themselves that they try and stay out of trouble. That's why we also do a driver briefing before every race. Oh, Wust goes wide. Let's have a look. Side by side, but Helen Voice will make it through. Can he keep it in front through the last turn? It's a good move. Patiently waiting for a mistake, and on this track, a mistake can easily happen. It's not a big deal. We are working lap 21 for this race. Another driver coming into the pits now. Helen Voice really running away. And it is Patrick Wust coming into the pits. Yeah, that's what I thought. So Bram de Pretre at the front at the moment. Let's see. Making his way through traffic. We give him plenty of room. It's a nice nice way to let someone past. Robert Horvat still in a very hard-fought battle. Now in the front, in the top 10, there's not that much action going on. A bit static, but once the pit stops start going off, we'll have to see how things pan out. At the moment, it's de Pretre, followed by, in theory, Damien de Grasse, then Max Bayer, de Keizer, Bulke, Arella, Dore, Meckenberg, de Munk, Manolovic, and Taplin. So de Munk doing a good job. It's not a driver I know very well, so it's a good job to get into the top 10 of this series in the opening round. Very nice performance so far. Still a long way to go, of course. But Ivan Sant, Kevin Rowland, Sven Meckenberg, Kosun and Horvat, they are still very, very close as well. And Florian Kutz dropping back a little bit from that battle. It seems he is behind Dirk Weicht, his countryman. Oh, and drive-throughs for Camaletto and Vierloos. And Camaletto diving in. As we can have a look at that beautiful yellow and purple, yellow and pink livery. And other drivers. Is that Vierloos? Yes, it is. Coming into the pits, and oh, that car has seen a bit of drama, it seems. What we see here, David Dore, slowly but surely putting the pressure on Ralph Arella. As Jack Camaletto comes out of the pits, not ideal, of course, coming out in the middle of the top 10. It's good to find a bit of pace, of course, but you need to let these guys through at some point and lose a couple of tenths here and there. So that's never nice to see. Where is de Grasse? 23rd position, making his way through the field. Let's see how he makes that work. On board, behind Pavlacek, who of course knows de Grasse was on pole. Should be a bit quicker, but of course, these guys are still battling for position. Oh, and a tighter line there. Makes quick work of it, Damien. Very nicely done indeed, makes his way through. Next up is Florian Kutz in the foreground. Let's jump on board with Dore, because as I said, oh, sorry, this is a bit too close for comfort. Rob Taplin Van Sant is in front, but Taplin almost having a look. Almost getting past, but not yet. These guys are in a monumental battle. Oh, late braking there, a lot later than Van Sande, who in P9, well, very well deserved. Puts a lot of practice in for these races, so it's always nice to be repaid by a good performance so far. The gap in front, 4.8 seconds, has remained the same for quite a while now. As Bilke has gotten past Arella. Oh, let's have a quick look if we can find that back. Doren is still behind at this point. Sorry to jump around like that a bit, but this is quite an important moment. Told myself I would not be doing that, but well, for this time, it's not every day that you see Arella making a mistake, I guess. And a change for position for P5, so that's always an important event. As we have some lapped cars in front who of course are in their own race, so not easy. Let's see if we can find out what happens to Ralph Arella. Does he dive into the pits then? Nope. Dora having a good run out of the first turn. The Porsche working quite well out of these slower corners on the traction. Sounding great as well. The gas up to P19 for now. So after this here, see if we can catch him with Florian Kutz, who is right behind Dirk Weicht as well. I think I misread that. I think I looked at Cliff Bilke in front of Arella and thought there was a change in position there. But also Cliff right behind Amadeo de Keizer. And de Grasse already past Florian Kutz as well. So making quick work of getting through the field. It's of course a big virtue to have in these races, especially here on a smaller track like Valencia. So I'll try to keep an eye out on Dore and Bilke. 4th and 6th for their team. Not a bad result to open up or to open this season. But we are not even halfway through the race yet, so anything can still happen. And de Grasse already getting past Dirk Weicht as well. Now 10 seconds to Simon Fillingham. Oh, and a drive through. Let's see. For de Keizer. Got it here, I think. Yeah, just a little bit too wide over the white line. Unfortunately, that will set him back quite a bit. And that will essentially hand Bilke P4 if we assume that Damien de Grasse will slot back into 2nd position. So will he peel off immediately, and then we will have a look at the battle with Penny and Heron and Kosunen. Guess the Kaiser will peel off here now and take that penalty. Oh, he will be kicking himself. They were on for a great team result, and now it will be a case of trying to salvage a P10 or a top 10 position, I think. Moving back to as Dore in the pits. Yeah, indeed. Sorry. It's Heron following Penny and Kosunen. And Heron also into the pits. So everybody getting in their pit stops now. So everything will be jumbled up for now. Very difficult to follow 37 cars with these pit stop, of course. But there we have 2 retirements so far. Of course, not nice to see, but it happens. And Penny putting pressure on Tommy Kosunen. Robert Horvath in P11 now. The Kaiser rejoined in P9, but he still has a pit stop to make. Now, a real pit stop. He had just a drive-through, so you lose about, 10, 15 real seconds on the track by driving through the pit lane. A bit cautious on the accelerator there for Penny. The grass up into P15 and Koyak. In the sandwich, he has Ruud Dennis behind. Abelovsky also getting a drive-through, unfortunately. There's a lapped car. Sorry, it's number 39. Still having to learn the numbers a little bit, but that's Hannah Song in this case. Oh, and Bram de Pretre has made his pit stop, or is making his pit stop. Has made his pit stop and came out just in front of Damien de Grasse. Very sorry we missed that, but it's very close indeed. Of course, he has fresher tires now, so once these get up to temperature, he should be able to pull a bit of a gap. Well, that's at least what I expect. So at the moment, it's Cliff Bilke leading the race, but he still has a pit stop to make with Marvin Mackenberg, Tom de Munk, Rob Taplin, Horvath, Kosunen, Helen Voice all have to still make a pit stop. Bram de Pretre in P10 is actually our race leader. But this is as close as it gets. We'll have to monitor that gap and see if Damien can keep the pressure, or if Bram can eke out that gap. Gap has grown a little bit already to about half a second, so we'll have to see if Damien can make that stick. So a lot of pit stops happening at the moment. Abelovsky lost position, and he has parked the car. That's not a drive-through that he's doing. He might have retired from this race, unfortunately. And Paul Heron still after the pit stop, still behind Alessandro Penny. So they must have come into the pits together. Oh, Sven de Wulf was very close, but he's standing behind a car. De Grasse and De Preter coming up on Cy Fillingham to lap him. There is a 77 Mercedes, nice and purple. Very nice livery indeed. So if you're looking at the stream, let us know which livery in this field you prefer, which you have seen so far. Let's give some action to Rob Taplin, who's having a great first outing here at our R-Leagues, following Tom de Munk around, as Cliff Bulke and Max Bayer as well have made their pit stops. They're right there. Hallam Voice still has to make a pit stop. As de Munk goes into the pits. So I expect Rob Taplin to go into the pits on the next lap to cover him off. That gives Marvin Mackenberg a lap in the lead in this race. So at the moment we have De Preter. Oh, as Cy Fillingham just peels off into the pits in front of our race leaders, we have De Preter, De Grasse, Max Bayer. Not too far behind. Pulled back the gap a little bit, 2.6 seconds only. Cliff Bulke is right there with them. Then it's Ralph Arella and Dore, so that has remained the same. Manolovic, Van Sande, also steady performances there. Oh, as Cliff Bulke gets past the back marker there, getting out of the way a little bit too eagerly, in my opinion. And Rob Taplin keeps going. So Marvin Mackenberg has come into the pits. Is he out yet? Yes, he is. And he rejoined in P6. Tom de Munk. He's there, and he is in P8. He has come into the pits. So Rob Taplin, I think, yes, he will come into the pits. For now, let's see where he comes out. So Useless Racers at the moment having a good outing in their first race here at our R-Leagues. Quite a lot of drivers in the pits as well. One of the Paradigm Shift cars. And the Preter, the Keizer now, after his drive-through, keeps going. So into the lead now, but he still has to make his pit stop. I think he's waiting for everybody to pit so he doesn't come out behind any of the cars. Let's see. Oh, let's have a quick look. It's Mackenberg and Dore. Yeah, Dore came out behind Mackenberg. That must be it. After the pit stops, or there was a pass that we missed, unfortunately. So Hulkenberg moving up the order. Can he put pressure on Ralph Arella? Something to watch out for. The Monk here in 13th position. Taplin is still in the pits. We have to follow him. Taplin tumbling down the order, logically. Coming out of the pits, and he is just in front of Tom de Muynck in the red Ferrari. Can Tom make most out of his speed? Goes for the inside line, gets it stopped, and makes the pass. Very nice move. They will go side by side to the next corner, but de Muynck has the inside line. Oh, goes a bit wide. Some side-by-side action, but Taplin regains the position. So Taplin now P12. He was in the top 10, but it's the Kaiser who is still there. And I think Rollins still has to make a pit stop. Not sure. On the live stream we would have gotten that information, but not here on the replay, unfortunately. So 2.5 seconds between the Praetrin and the Grass. So that gap has grown steadily. And this battle between Taplin and de Muynck being or going over the pit stop cycle. So they'll have to do it on track. Taplin will have to defend, or is he looking forward, looking in front to Ivan Sande and Nemanja Manojlovic just in front of him. Florian Kutz and Cy Fillingham keeping each other company. Have known each other on the track for years and years and years. So let's see if we can keep an eye on this brewing battle. What I wanted to have a look at was, again, Penny, Horvath, Heron. These guys have been battling it out for about 50 minutes now already. So very nice and consistent racing for these guys. And at the moment, a nice result, as I think, yeah, we have lost Horvath's teammate Peter Abelovsky, so he'll have to take the points alone for his team. Ivan Sande again battling with Manojlovic. Can he go around the outside in the last turn? That's a very difficult task, but can he get on the power earlier? He is on the power quite early, and Manojlovic notices the danger, goes for the defensive line. As Fillingham, Voice and Kutz are very close for P20 now. Oh, Manojlovic has to look backwards. Kevin Rowlands in front is none of his concern at the moment. Let's have a quick look, because Max Bayer has closed up the gap. Oh, as there's a big moment in front for one of the Boy Transport racing cars. I think it's Hallam Voice in the purple, number 6. No, it's number 4. That's Murdo McLeod. But Max Bayer really putting the pressure on Damien de Grasse after the pit stops in the McLaren, and they're having to negotiate traffic. Oh, and that's very tough indeed. Murdo McLeod, can he take advantage? Is he battling for position with Dirk Weygt? Yes, he is. Weygt and McLeod. Traffic always providing some good action, but this gives our race leader a bit of breathing room. Bram de Pretre. Can Max Bayer make a move for the second spot on the podium here on this race? Be a big confidence booster. He was our P2 finisher in the championship last season in the Nissan GTR. So they have moved away from that and moved to the Lamborghini, but still solid result for him and his teammate Ruud Dennis in 30th position, having put in a lot of practice and getting better and better at our hobby. That's what we all work for, right? Doesn't matter if you're battling for P1, P10 or P30. You're supposed to be having fun, and that's I think what all the drivers here on the track are having, and that's what we want to see. As I said, Cuts, Fillingham, and Hallam Voice for P20. Mercedes, and Ferrari. A very special livery for the finger racing of Florian Cuts, and a stylish purple for the 77. We haven't seen much of Ralph Arella, but he is very firmly in 5th position. Well, firmly. He has Marvin Mackenberg right behind him, but still, as Amadeo de Keizer has pitted and came out in P12 now. Can he put some pressure on Rob Taplin? Can he move into the top 10? We'll have to see. Van Sant still ever so closely following Nemanja Manojlovic. This is a battle for the ages. This is one they will remember. We have Manojlovic and Van Sande, and then a bit further back, Taplin and De Keizer. De Keizer put himself between Taplin and De Munk, so broke up that battle after coming out of the pits. And Max Bayer keeping the pressure on. We'll have a quick sip of water and I'll be right back with you. De Keizer clearly quicker than Rob Taplin. Will Rob fight for that position, or will he look at the long-term perspective of winning the battle against Tom de Munk, potentially joining the battle between Manojlovic and Van Sande? We'll have to see. So a couple of battle packs. We have P2 and P3 closely following. We have Mackenberg closely following as De Keizer makes his move and gets past Rob Taplin. He should make that move stick still. Oh, Taplin going for the inside. Having a look, but thinking better of it. Fortunately, I think that move was not on anymore. As I was saying, we have this pack here and Tom de Munk right back with Rob Taplin now. Rob has to shift focus. Back to de Munk. But we have 3 battles. We have Max Bayer versus Damien de Grasse. We have Ralph Arella versus Marvin Mackenberg. We have Manojlovic and Van Sande. Taplin and de Munk. And then Hallam Voice, unfortunately here in P20, getting a drive-through for track cuts. So that puts him out of this equation with Fillingham and Cuts. Very unfortunate here for him. Let's have a quick look. Stop and go 30 for Murdo McLeod. Drive through again for Jack Camaletto, not going his way. His teammate Pavlacek in 23rd, a bit of a lonely place where he's at. So, as I suspected, some drive-throughs coming through for, oh, very tough there on the brakes for the 291 of Stefan Vierlos in last position at the moment, letting P2 and P3 past. And Camaletto serving his drive-through, Voice serving his drive-through. And the Pretre 4.3 seconds, very dominantly in the front now. Oh, Rob Taplin. That's what you get when pushing too hard to stay in front. He is very close to Ifan San, but picks up a drive-through penalty, unfortunately. Dives in. Oh, he must be kicking himself. That's very unfortunate. He was on for a good finish near the top 10, maybe inside. But this drive-through will make that a lot more difficult than it needed to be. Fillingham and Cuts dragging each other around. Let's have a look at Marvin Mackenberg. He's following around Ralph Arella. So the 77 guys, as quite a lot of teams have opted for 2 different color schemes for their cars. So we have the blue of Ralph Arella here, and we have the purple of Cy Fillingham, which we saw earlier. And then which other teams have done this? Cliff Bilke and David Dore as well. They have a greenish color. I think that's for Bilke. Yes, indeed. A bit of a greenish color for Bilke, and then the blue stripe for David Dore. Hallam Voice staying in front of these guys. He's not taking his drive-through penalty yet. He wants to savor the moment, I think, and enjoy defending from these 2 legends, I'd call them. But long time URL and RRL racers. He stays on the track for now. Max Bayer still keeping the pressure on. Amadeo de Keizer now into the top 10. Will he make quick work of Nemanja Manojlovic? We'll see. Robert Horvat is in P14 now. Let's go on board with de Keizer and see what he can do here. He has the fresher tires, pitted quite late. Had some race wins as well, as Hallam Voice takes his drive-through penalty now. He had some race wins last time around as well, but a bit of an inconsistent run at some points, so he could not challenge his teammate for the championship. But he, as I said, makes quite quick work of Nemanja Manojlovic, using up his fresher tires and a bit more pace in the car, it seems. Van Sande and De Munk. So De Munk has found another victim to follow. Rob Taplin has fallen back to P18. Not the end of the world, but not where he was, of course. Mackenberg and Arella still together. And the grass pulling back a little bit to Bram de Pretre. Is this a sign of things to come? Or not, we'll have to see. We are working lap 41. So we're in the final third of this race. Robert Horvat then, I think, having a very enjoyable race. P14, following Sven Mackenberg. You could call them regulars already, the Mackenbergs, having joined us in a couple of series on ACC as well as race room racing experience. So already quite some races under their belt here at RR Leagues. And not as many as the likes of Dorge, Arella, and Fillingham, etc. But still, Manojlovic also here for quite some years already, and I am forgetting quite a lot of drivers there, so I won't finish that list to not step on any toes. Although I don't think many of us have long toes. That being said, Bayer, I think he's just biding his time, just staying with the grass and keeping his finishing kick to the end. Make the move. Done and dusted. Let's see. De Keizer in P9. Kevin Rowlands. We haven't seen him very much, but let's have a look at him now. He is in P8. Bit of a lonely race. Cliff Bulke has had quite a lonely race, but he is moving up the order. Started P6, moved up into P5, now P4, with De Keizer dropping out, and De Keizer again not wasting any time getting past Rowlands. That was he made that look easy. I'm sure it wasn't, because Rowlands also a race winner in the rain at Silverstone in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo, so no slouch, that's for sure. De Keizer, however, superior grip and pace in the Mercedes AMG GT3. Now let's go on board. Yes, let's go on board with Florian Kutz, because he's looking at Cy Fillingham, who has Patrick Wust right in front of him. Ferrari, Mercedes, BMW. Rob Taplin in P18 is a bit further up the road, but with 34 cars now on this smallish track, that it just gets busy. Get action all the time as Wust goes defensive. Let's jump on board with Fillingham for now. A good line, and as I said, it's a case of not picking up any drive-through penalties, because you will lose a lot of time. It's not worth it. That 5 thousandths of a second that you gain by going a bit wide, it's not worth getting a drive-through. So the guys that don't get one will finish in their deserved positions, I think. 90 minutes is long enough to prove your worth. We had a 20-minute qualifying session, which we will be streaming as well for the next race at Suzuka. So next time you will get all the action from start to finish. It will be a long stream, 20-minute qualifying session, a 2-hour race at Suzuka. So buckle up, I would say. If you like what you see, give this video a like, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel to get notified of our future videos and live streams. At the moment we are running only this GT3 Master Series sponsored by Trek. Haven't mentioned them. Oh, Patrick Wust, I think, goes off. Yes, indeed. No, sorry, it was one of the cars in front. Was not paying attention. But enough for one of the drivers. I guess past the purple McLaren of Nigel Wood, I think. Have a look. We have missed Mr. Bayer getting past the grass. Let's see if we can find it back. Oh, it happened quite some time already ago. Here it is. Oh, seems to be a mistake. From the grass. Oh, he went, goes to the side. Why would that be? Here they were battling hard, but nothing unfair there. Let's see if we can find what happened, because the grass will not concede position just like that, but he might find it fair if there was an incident for which he felt guilty. So let's see. He will be moving out of the way here. Not sure why, but something must have happened for which Damien thought that Max had to be let through. So let's go back to where we were. Max Bayer finally then getting that P2 he was chasing for so long. Manolovic and de Munk and Van Sande also still battling it out. Let's go on board with the Belgian in the Ferrari. And the gas clearly falling back now. So maybe a small tap or something caused him to lose a bit of pace and concede that position to Max Bayer. Who do we have further down the grid? Smurder McLeod at the moment in last position. Stefan Vierlos, Jack Camaletto, Hannah Song, Kouwenberg, Hekke, Dennis Koyak de Wilf. Voice after his drive-through penalty, Nigel Wood. I haven't seen him a lot yet, but I'm sure he will get some action in the next few races. De Munk having a good first outing, just trying to find just having a quick look if I can find what happened to Max Bayer. Yeah, so found what happened as you were watching the action was there was a battle in that lap where we were on in turn 1 where Damien just had a bit of a move in defending against Max, and in turn 12 decided to let him through. So fair play to Damien, going from pole to P3 at the moment, but not a problem for him. He has plenty of pace, so I'm sure we'll see him back come the coming further into this series. Paul Heron picking up a drive-through penalty. At the moment, none of the top 10 doing that so far, so that's good. Of course, we had the Keizer crawling his way back already into the top 10 after his penalty, and Marvin Mackenberg still putting pressure on Ralph Arella. Now at the moment, cuts drop back a little bit from this battle between Wust and Fillingham. But Fillingham now really putting on the pressure. Oh, a bit of oversteer there for Sai, but he keeps it on the black stuff, fortunately. And Marvin Mackenberg still putting pressure on Ralph Arella. So as you can see, these guys always hitting their lines, always taking those perfect braking spots. Almost no mistakes from these guys. Of course, they're not in the lead, so it can always be done better. But very nice driving here by all of the drivers so far. And the race reports after the race prove that. There were a bit of incidents in the first few laps. With this big of a grid and this small of a track, that's a bit to be expected. Everybody is on their toes, a bit nervous for the first race. As we get to 50 laps, let's see, we'll go to lap 60, so 10 laps to go for this race. This Lamborghini looks really, really planted, I must say. Tom de Munk, Manojlovic and Van Sande. They're now very close to Kevin Rowlands as well, so everything bunching up a little bit. Oh, a bit of oversteer there for Mackenberg. Now it's Jack Camaletto in last position, unfortunately. But everybody keeps going. There's only 3 drivers so far that have jumped out of the session, so that's nice to see. Of course, starting and finishing at least 7 of the 8 races will put drivers and teams into some prize draws. First of all, there is a prize draw for individual drivers for a €250 voucher at our sponsors sim racing hardware shop Trek. And then, oh, car stopped there at the side of the road. And then for 2 driver teams who compete in at least 7 of the 8 rounds of this season, they will be put in the pot and they will win a duo ticket to a GT World Challenge race of their choosing. So 2 nice prizes to compete for, except for the Drivers' Championship, the Teams' Championship, the Ironman Championship for most laps or most kilometers driven. A Nations Cup is also up for grabs, and then if we find enough slow drivers, let's say, or more inexperienced drivers, that will be done based on race times after race 2. We will also create a amateur cup, which will have their own championship table based on their finishing positions. So lots and lots to fight for. And as I said before, as we have a big upset there at the front, Damien de Grasse in the McLaren picking up a drive-through for a track cut. That will put him out of contention and will move Cliff Bulke, Arella, Mackenberg, Dora, etc. all up some spots. Bulke now on the podium, our GT3 Masters 5 champion. Being consistent, making no mistakes, and reaping the benefits from that now. And Damien must be kicking himself. Whoa! As it has to take avoiding action. For a car standing in the middle of the road, that was very, very tricky. But Damien de Grasse having to serve a drive-through penalty. And so that shakes things up once more. Are there any close battles here behind Sven de Wulf for Happy Feet Racing? He is not too far behind Hallam Voice. At least that's what my timing says. No, he already made his way past Hallam, it seems. Yeah, Hallam is right there behind him. Oh, as Hallam hits the wall there. Or who was that? One of the Mercedes drivers hitting the wall. Yeah, it was Murdo McLeod, so he was probably fiddling with his pit controls or something, but fortunately that was done on the main straight and no big harm done. Have to look out with that. So drive through for Damien de Grasse. At the moment he keeps going. Will he dive into the pits now? We'll have to see where he comes out. Suspecting just outside of the top 10. Maybe mixing up that battle between Rowlands, Manojlovic, de Munk. We'll have to see. No, he carries on for another lap. this battle here. Manojlovic and Rollins. Van Sande got past. Oh, as we do some synchronized spinning after a hit. Manojlovic gets going again, but leaves Rollins to rejoin in front. It's nice to see. That's what we always encourage. Unfortunately, they both lose some positions by doing that, but better fair than not. So we caught that, and let's hope that Manojlovic puts on his Pantera blue livery on for the next race. That would be nice to see as well. It's this one here, also ran by Damien de Grasse, of course. Curious to see where Damien will end up. That's why I'm following him as I'm filling him now, only 0.5 of a second behind Patrick Wust. And Manojlovic and Rollins drop back P13, P14, and this puts Van Sande and de Munk into the top 10. Very nice for them. And Damien drives into the pits. Let's see. As our helicopter cameraman has a bit of trouble of focusing on the correct car. His last lap at 1:37.8. That's not good. But he does get passed by Cliff Bilke already. So Cliff up into P3 with 5 laps to go. And look at the brake balance on that Porsche. 49.4. Very cool to see. Don't think we can see that on the live stream if we do it live, but we'll have to see next time around. So de Grasse gets going again, and where does he rejoin? Just in the battle with Marvin Mackenberg and Ralph Arella. I think yes, indeed. Let's have a quick look back on that. So Damien de Grasse rejoining just in front. Let's go on board. Just in front of Arella. So he didn't lose that much time. Arella trying to make the move. Of course, this is for position. And just a slight tap there. And then some late braking from Marvin Mackenberg, I think. And that puts Damien de Grasse sideways on the track. Marvin Mackenberg gets going again, and Ralph Arella is already gone. So Mackenberg. Oh, and Manojlovic also getting a drive through. Mackenberg was waiting for Damien de Grasse, but de Grasse has exited the session. Unbelievable. You were still in P6, mate. Come on. At least you should try and finish the race. It was only 4 laps to go. You put in that much effort. Very unfortunate there, but this mixes things up again. Sven Mackenberg now into the top 10. Manojlovic will get a drive-through. Dirk Weicht will still have to serve a drive-through. He's doing that now, so that will clear when he comes out of the pits. Oof, what an end to this race. Manojlovic still closely following Rollins, and Horvat maybe looking at a top 10 finish if he can catch Sven Mackenberg and get past him. We'll have to see. The gaps at the front quite steady. De Pretre now 8.5 seconds in front of Max Bayer. 15 seconds back is Cliff Bilke. Then it's Arella and Dora for our top 5. De Keizer made it up all the way back up to P6. Very nice for him. Marvin Mackenberg now 7th position. After that incident, Yves Van Sande 8th, Tom de Munk 9th, Sven Mackenberg 10th position, and Robert Horvat looking to take that away. It seems Fillingham now very, very closely following Patrick Wust as well, but no passing moves done there yet. So 3 more laps to go for Bram de Pretre to end his start his season as he has ended it last time around with a win. And quite some controversy. Damien de Grasse sticking it on pole, but in the end, not even finishing the race, so not getting any points for all his efforts. That's very unfortunate. We have Jack Camaletto in 32nd, Hannah Song, newcomer, 30th position, Halan Voice in 24th. So everybody's still running around, driving around very well. Hannah Song. He's right on the tail of Olivier Kouwenberg's Ferrari. So even in P30 after almost 90 minutes of racing, it's still as close as ever. And of course, as you see the RRL logo in the foreground. Here at the back of the pack, some more small mistakes are being made, so passes are a bit more frequent, which is nice, of course, but Hanasson doing a good job. His teammate James Mead not on the grid today, so let's hope to see him in Suzuka. Rob Taplin from P18 to P15 now, and he is right behind Tommy Kosonen in the finger racing Ferrari to the 197. And I also saw Robert Horvat. Yes, he's within 1 second of P9. Sven Mackenberg holding that P10 position. Tom de Munk holding P9. So in these last stages of the race, still everything to play for. Let's have a quick look. Song and Kouwenberg still battling it out. And Robert Horvat, here you can see it. Can he make the move? Tom de Munk has a bad exit. And Horvat going for the inside line. Can he get past? Seems he can. He gets past Sven Mackenberg for P10. Tom de Munk is next on his list. But we'll have to quickly see what happens there. But Bram de Pretre already finished his race here. And he has won the opening round of the 7th edition of the GT3 Masters. Max Bayer as well, doing a good job. In P2, Cliff Bilke already in the pits. Ralph Arella, David Dore, Amadeo de Keizer, Marvin Mackenberg, Yves Van Sande, Tom de Munk. In the end, Robert Horvat P10, Sven Mackenberg in P11, then Kevin Rowlands, Alessandro Penny, Tommy Kosonen, Rob Taplin, Patrick Wust, Cy Fillingham staying behind with Florian Kutz also very closely following. Paul Heron, Radek Pavlacek, Nigel Wood, Dirk Weigt, Helen Voice, Sven de Wilf for P24, Frank Koyak, 25th position. Ruud Dennis then, Sven Hekke, Olivier Kouwenberg, Hannah Song finishing right behind him, Stefan Vierloos, Jack Camaletto in P31 and 32nd position for Murdo McLeod. So that is our finishing positions for this opening race here at Valencia. It was an enjoyable experience to commentate on this race, and I'm looking forward to really live stream the Suzuka race in about a week from now when we publish this video. So next week on Sunday, the 8th of September, we will be traveling to Suzuka with the whole circus. Hopefully all of the drivers, so all 40 drivers and not 37, will be joining us for that race. It's set to be a 2-hour race with some variable weather conditions. Everybody, getting that practice in, because in the preseason, most of the practice was done on Valencia. Lots of laps done, as I said, but Suzuka is an all other beast. It's one of those classic tracks which we have seen on the Masters calendar for a couple of seasons now. So that will be a cracker, that's for sure, and we'll have to see if Bram de Pretre can defend his championship lead, if Damien de Grasse can finish this next race in a good position. So a lot of things to look out for, but a lot of rivalries and friendships on the track have already been formed. So make sure to join us next week for that Suzuka live stream. As I said, 2-hour race, 20-minute qualifying session. So plenty of action to follow or to fill your evening on Sunday evening. This was the first round of the rrleagues.com GT3 Masters Edition 7, sponsored by Trek. I'm Miguel Santiago Carou, your host, and I wish you a very nice evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever you are watching this video. We will hear each other very, very soon. So have a good night and see you later.